Hi, Dr. Mark here for Natural Health. Hope you're having a great day. I know we're getting a very late start tonight, so we're trying not to keep you too long. But I have some good information here. It's really good information, I think. It's common sense stuff. So I'll get right into it. Again, we're here at Natural Health. I've been here at the 2000 Jefferson. We've been in practice now going on 40 years. So we're having our big 40-year anniversary. So we're doing some special drawings with that. So please stop by, see what's going on, and get in the drawing. $40 for 40 days, so kind of fun. So we're talking about heart health this month, and tonight we're talking about a healthy heart and some of the problems that go along with that. So I'll start right into it. And I want to dispel some of the things. There's a lot of problems with the cholesterol myth. And this all starts back, believe it or not, Dwight Eisenhower had a heart attack, and that was kind of one of the first ones that made the big news. I mean, there were some around, but it wasn't a big thing, but that really brought it to the attention of Americans that, you know, we're dying of heart problems. What's going on? What's all going on with the heart problems? There was a doctor with the AMA, and a big guy, big wheel, Alan Keyes. He decided that the problem was that, you know, when you have a person who had a heart attack and you would go ahead and do surgery or whatever, do a bypass, well, those things are all plugged for the cholesterol. So that means that cholesterol in food sources would include eggs and butter and cheese and whatever else they decided, you know, with certain, you know, the oils and things and all that fat, saturated fat. That's where all this cholesterol comes from. Well, the problem is that was the biologists look at things, or the surgeons look, but not the physiologists, not where that problem actually comes from. Where does the problem actually come from? Well, it's from all the sugars and junk that was going on. White flour and white sugar, especially white flour, had been introduced back in the late 1800s, but early 1900s and 20s. So by 1940s, 50s, the heart the cardiovascular system had time to plug up with the insult from the high insulin that these refined sugars bring into the diet. There's some other things going on there too. The seed oils had been introduced back in the 20s, and these seed oils, like linseed oil, different things, were used as machine oil. But again, these guys are looking into this deal, how they could sell this oil that wouldn't go rancid in the stores. That, you know, negated some of the good vitamin E and different things that the body uses to help our cardiovascular system stay in good shape. So between the high refined sugar intake, the high refined flour intake with all the minerals and things being taken out of them, and the higher use of these machine oils or seed oils, that lends towards a diseased heart. And these arteries and things of the heart get plugged full of things because the heart gets the first nutrition. It also gets a lot of the first sugars. And so the sugar gets into that. Again, the insulin rates are high, irritates the blood vessel linings. They actually get to the point where they crack, are damaged and bleed, and the body plugs it up with cholesterol. It's there long enough that even some the leukocytes get into this, the calcium plaquing. And so then, you know, if a piece of that breaks off, you have a heart attack, or if it goes into the brain, you have a stroke, or if it goes into the lung, you have a pulmonary embolism. So these are all problems of, yes, the piece of stuff there is a cholesterol, but that's because the body puts it there to handle all of the damage done by the high insulin rates and high sugar that the bodies have to deal with. Again, these foods were never meant to be eaten by humans. You know, processed sugar, processed flour, that's something that our bodies were never really meant to have. So, you know, and yeah, they taste great, but they actually cause a lot of problems in the body. And so that's what the main three problems of mortality in this country are cardiovascular issues, diabetes, which again is just sugar and stuff like that, and cancer. And why is cancer a problem? Well, one of the problems at least is that when you eat all these refined sugars, the body robs the immune system to digest these sugars. The body likes the energy of sugar. It can burn sugar, but the problem is there's no nutrition with this kind of sugar. Whereas if you get it in fruit or something, there's actually the minerals and things with it. it's taken out of the food context, made into actually a drug. Refined sugar works as a drug. I know this is information you don't want to hear, but this is how heart problems get here. This is why the problem's getting worse. Because you can go through and do, they've been working on getting people off cholesterol forever, and it's actually made the problem worse. And lowering cholesterol on purpose with all the drugs causes the Alzheimer's, degenerative nerve diseases, all the dementia, different things, at least a part of that. It's all part of the problem. You're not looking at the cause of the problem. The cause is this problem. And when you eat a lot of these refined sugars and refined flours, you're not eating the good foods. Because like if you just had a donut, you eat a grapefruit or an orange, they actually taste terrible. I mean, they're tart and all that, yuck, don't want to eat that. So, I mean, it's just the thing where, of course, the natural fruits will go bad, where donuts will sit on the shelf for weeks. So it's the thing that we have to really learn, that if you want to have health, then you have to eat correctly, eat good foods. So like, meats have saturated fat, but that is the good sources of oils that the body needs to work correctly. The good cholesterol body works. Another part of this is that when they give people statin drugs to lower cholesterol, how does that drug work? Well, it works by suppressing the liver's ability to make cholesterol. The question is never asked, why is the liver making all this cholesterol? It's got to do with all this sugar, all this problem with the insult to the cardiovascular system, and the body's working with that. So again, good meats, good vegetables, like avocados is a great place to get good quality fats that have vitamin E in them that are cardiovascular system protective. And so we've got to get away from all these sugars and things and work towards getting good foods in the diet. What we do here at Natural Health is help people to do that, because they've been brainwashed forever on getting these, getting away from the saturated fats, and you can have all the sugar you want because just carbs. Well, that's just all BS. And so if I was telling you the wrong thing, why is cardiovascular problems going higher and higher? Why is if you were following that routine, and then cardiovascular system problems should be going down, but it's the number one cause of mortality in this country. So I think I'm right. So anyway, we want to make sure to get people to have a good diet, to have good health. The heart too, really isn't what the heart is. Most of the heart is just muscle. So the heart is fairly easy to repair. The body can repair it. Now, medical wisdom tells you can't repair the heart. Well, you can. We do it all the time in here, strengthening the heart, getting the heart better. The body can repair these things. It can repair everything in the body. You just have to feed it correctly and remove the barriers that lend towards the problems that the body can't repair itself. And there are barriers like heavy metals, food allergies, where the gut can't absorb food correctly or the good nutrients correctly. Pathogens like the immune system not working correctly, so you can get like scarlet fever or these viruses or bacteria that lend towards cardiovascular problems. These are all barriers, again, as to why the body can't get well, and of course chemicals and things like that. So that's what we do at Natural Health, is figure out what the cause of that patient's problem is, and then we help the body to get past those problems, and again, get off of the junk and get into good foods that the body can use to repair itself, as it has for thousands and thousands of years. So that's probably enough for me, again, trying to work through it pretty quickly so you're not here all night. But again, it's pretty good information, but fairly simple information. So it's just a matter of using common sense. The body was meant to run on food, not on junk. Really common sense should be for everybody. So that's probably enough of a rant for me tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Chip and let him talk about more good, fun things. So Dr. Chip, take it away.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're going to continue the discussion with health and with the heart. So I'm Dr. Chip, and let's get it going here. So again, a cool little picture here with the heart. But again, you can kind of see more of a brain there. You can kind of see the little lines here indicating the brain and the heart being together there. And why I'm going to go ahead and go with this discussion. Again, Dr. Mark explained a lot of good information about nutrition, about foods, and why that's important for our overall health and well-being. And that can aid with the health of the heart. But I'd like to take a little different perspective here too, just to show you that there's also other capabilities of the heart and how the heart can actually maintain a good health there too. Now I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit, just because I want to make sure that we have a good, clear indication or awareness of what's going on here. And so a lot of times when we think of illness and sickness, we kind of always want to make sure, or we get kind of focused on the sickness and illness so much. Again, like Dr. Mark explained, cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, we have all these different health problems, but nobody wants to actually say what's going on or take responsibility, you kind of say. And that we have so much of these health issues going on that why is this not being looked at, or why is this not being discussed? And you would say bigger media outlets, all that too, because obviously we have the best technology in the world. We have the U.S. is very advanced in the different things there too, but sometimes getting back to health is actually much more simple than you would think. And so again, it's just there's different avenues that way. But let's kind of look at the causes here. So we can kind of see is that, kind of like what Dr. Mark explained, the toxins here, again, this can be actual toxins in the environment, such as chemicals and pollutants and heavy metals, all that. But this also could be an overload of, sugar, not getting proper nutrition, malnourished there too. So that can be a toxic situation for the body and the heart as well. Now trauma, again, this is kind of more of the physical work that we do. And so a lot of times when we are overworking something, that can tax the body a lot. And so and recovering, then we can overwork the systems, and that takes away from the health of the body. And then of course too is that many people think that when you go to the gym and you're lifting heavy weights, that's where you build muscle. But really that's just how you break it down. You're building the muscle on the recovery. Sometimes less is more. And so just kind of being aware of that. And of course too is that if we're not doing anything, if we're just sitting around, not moving our bodies, not getting proper blood flow, all that, that can be also an issue there too. Now thoughts, again, this is kind of more thoughts and emotions. Of course there's things that we can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. And that's kind of more the physical part, but the thoughts, of course, emotions, stuff that we can't see with those senses though. So again, it's very important, but we have to make sure that we're aware of it and see that that can play a factor on our health and well-being too. So again, we'll take it back here a little bit here. So the health of the heart, again, is where we're getting back to. Now the brain is being an indicator here of how these can work together as one unit. And so this is a cool picture too. Again, you kind of see the brain being more of your analytical, logical, reasoning part of your, you'd say, body. And then the heart is kind of more of your creative, fun, that kind of side. So a lot of times is that when we get kind of, you would say, stuck in our way of thinking, maybe we're wanting to change something but we fear that we can't, or maybe there's some kind of bug or virus that we got really accustomed to be very scared of. A very fearful mindset can keep us stuck in our heads. And when we're not being able to use our hearts much, that can cause an issue. And so a lot of times you would say more of that fun nature, that you would say loving, caring, kind nature there too, that's kind of more emanating from the heart. And that's more of seeing things as they are and having fun with the process. Now again, there needs to be a balance here too. If we're not balancing both areas, then that can be an issue. So if we're being too careless, of course, then we can have issues. But if we're getting too, you would say, strict or rigid in our ways and thinking, that can be too much too. So again, it's more of the balance between both. And so, like we said there too, is this, again, this is heart health. This is the heart month that we're kind of covering. And so when we can balance out those areas, then that's very effective. And so you could say that, having fun, doing things that you like to do, maybe exercise doesn't have to be, going crazy in the weights. But again, people like to do that, so that's okay. But it can be, you could say yoga, it could be different swimming, it could be playing with different things, it could be kids, all that too. So you want to make sure that you're balancing that out too, so that you can help the heart to have a good, healthy system there, of course, too. So I think that does it for that picture here. Now I bring this slide up here because while we are talking about the heart and the brain, you might think that you don't really understand that connection. That doesn't really make sense to a lot of people. But now there's plenty of studies and research to suggest, of course, is that, again, the body is all connected, but the heart is a big factor in our, you would say, nervous system, or our autonomic nervous system. And so a lot of times when we are in a, you would say, fight or flight mode, or we're, you would say, irritated, upset, frustrated, fearful, these different emotions can cause us to go into a more of a, you would say, fight or flight mode, sympathetic, but it more gears us to be ready for any possible fearful situations or worst outcomes. And so when we're constantly stuck in that emotion or that energy or that situation, well, our brain does not know the difference between what we think is going on and what we're actually experiencing. So again, if we're constantly creating that, you can see is that the body is going to have ill effects because we cannot stay in that chronic stress all the time. So that's why, of course, that you would say even in life there's, you know, there's rest and recover. You have exercise and then you have recovery. You have work, then you have play. You have, you know, business and then vacations. So again, there's just that balance to where we have to be able to kind of, you would say, turn the switch or be able to recover that too. So again, that's why the heart can play as more of a reset, where when we're using our heart more, those different emotions, that actually can, you know, reset the autonomic nervous system, so it puts us more into a restful healing mode for our bodies and our hearts as well. So I would say that is probably it for today. Again, this is kind of going back to the causes. So a lot of times it's not about doing more things, but really about letting go and allowing other things. And so that's kind of more of that letting go or not doing the things that are hurting in a sense there too. So I think that wraps it up for tonight. Again, you can always follow us at Natural Health Quincy IL at Facebook, YouTube, Brighteon, and Instagram. You can always subscribe to our email list at naturalhealthquincy.com. That's also the website. And then the location is 2000 Jefferson Street in Quincy, Illinois. The number is 217-228-2040. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you learned a lot of good information. Of course, we want to make sure that we're getting this out there too, so that not only you're not confused about what's going on or how you can help yourselves, but you just have a good understanding of what health really is. And so like Dr. Mark explained, kind of more of the food and you know, nutrition side, and then kind of more explaining the more of the thought, emotion, and physical side there too. So again, it's all this you would say complex picture, again, a lot of parts, but when we really think about it, it's more common sense, kind of being more simple. And of course, the best things in life are more of the simple things. So again, thank you again so much for watching, and have a great week.